Yeah, I'm double checking here. Yeah, server's still offline. Okay, 1 second. Let me make sure that I catch up with all the rest of these. 1 year anniversary of the passing of Total Biscuit. Pour one out for the YouTube and Twitch legend. Hey, he was, man. He definitely was. That's sorry to hear. Chuckler, thank you very much for the 500 bits. Alliance is trash for the Horde. Rogue Slasher, thanks a lot for the $2, man. Appreciate that. If I manage to get 60 within 7 to 8 real days after launch, would you consider giving me a chance to prove myself and eventually join raiding guild? Yeah, I would. Asmon, I'm sorry I made fun of you and your mods. I never spammed. You can log me. Please unban. Okay, we're gonna look at one person and then we're gonna get done. All right. Do you think your breakfast stream made your current streams better? Yeah, I think so. I'm a lot more relaxed in general now, and I'm glad to be that way. Absolutely. Keep going. Make WoW perma #1 on Twitch. I'm going to do my best, man. I definitely will. Saw the political debate from Train, Destiny, and Sargon. Comments loved you. You're on a great neutral moderator. Hope you do it again. I will. Like, if Train wants to do another political podcast, I will absolutely be willing to do that with him, and I enjoyed it last time, and I will probably enjoy it this time as well. Let me just go ahead and open up this guy's logs, and we will see what we've got here. All right, there we go. Asmongold. All right, let's look at your logs, and we'll start the video. PvP server, twit longer, mods banned emote. Let's see, 70 candy. Why don't you tone down the talking about the view count stuff, man? Like, that's like, people that do that a lot, like, I don't know, it's usually a lot of, like, usually a combination of, like, a lot of people that act that way are, like, really spurgy, right? Because they're like, oh, I was here, I'm part of something. Like, just relax, man. Just enjoy the show. Just enjoy the show and have a good time. You're unbanned. Okay, let's go. This is the greatest quest chain probably ever made. 6 killing boards, can I join your guild? No meme? Yeah, you can join. There it is, man. There it is. Jagged Wall, thank you very much for sub. There's Atiesh himself. What time next week? There's the guy. 5 times what I make. Yo, that's why people keep donating.
Hey guys,
thanks.
The latest poll has concluded, and the winner is the Azeroth Arsenal, Atiesh. So
yeah,
that's what we'll be doing today. Atiesh is to casters, as the Ashbringer is to paladins. It's the ultimate caster weapon, firmly etched into Warcraft's mythology and lore.
It's the most badass weapon in the game.
It's made appearances in the books, the movie, and of course World of Warcraft itself.
Yep.
Wielded by iconic characters such as Egwin, the Last Guardian Medivh, and Khadgar, it's the weapon of choice for the Guardians of Tirisfal.
No, it's not.
Its appearance is pretty simple, at least in comparison to the other vanilla legendaries. It's a long wooden weapon reinforced with arcane magic and stylized with a raven carved into the head, the symbol of the Guardians. Not only does it serve as a conduit of power for its wielder, but it's also capable of opening a portal to Karazhan, the former home of the Last Guardian, and even allowing transformation into the form of a raven for transportation.
So my friend and I, we got Atiesh for him. We would open up portals to Karazhan, and we would have lobbies take the portal, and then have the mobs kill him. I actually had access to this guy's account. I could have merged his account with my account, and I could have had Atiesh on my account. But I was ethical, and I didn't do it. What a mistake. What a fucking mistake.
It holds incredible power, but only the strongest can bring out its full potential. After Medivh's corruption and death.
That was the guy, by the way, just to bring all of this full circle. Kryptonites was the one that was explaining 4 horsemen for 2 hours, and then the raid wiped in 2 seconds. That's the same guy. That's why he got Atiesh. Do you think that he would actually have put that much effort into doing Naxxramas if he wasn't getting Atiesh out of it? Put the pieces together. It's all real.
The weapon was cursed and passed around to various members of the Kirin Tor, who were the mages of Dalaran. However, anyone who wielded it died shortly after. In light of this, and with the line of guardians coming to a close, the Kirin Tor judged the weapon to be unwieldable and locked it away behind barriers of magic in their city of Dalaran. And on top of this, since it was such a powerful artifact, a guardian would also keep a watchful eye over it and protect it from any would-be thieves.
Of course.
It laid there for many years until the Eridar Demon Lord, Archimonde, attacked the city. A failsafe triggered with a barrier guarding Atiesh, and the staff was shattered into many pieces and spread throughout the land. The shards, 40 in total, were collected by the Scourge.
I didn't know that.
The archaeologist, Brand Bronzebeard, found the base, which he then lost to the old god Cthulhu when he was exploring the Temple of Ahn'Qiraj.
Oops!
Way to go, Bran.
My bad.
And Kel'Thuzad, the Lich Lord and commander of Naxxramas, held the Raven Head of the staff. Which brings us to World of Warcraft. This weapon was obtainable by players with the original Naxxramas, which was released in patch 1.11 and removed in patch 3.0.2 in light of its remake in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. It was the first caster legendary in the game, and the first legendary to be obtained through consistent and hard work, rather than just a lucky drop like the other vanilla legendaries such as Thunder Fury and the Hand of Ragnaros.
That's actually really true, I never thought of that.
As mentioned, it all started with the Naxxramas raid. This was the final raid for Classic World of Warcraft, and was appropriately the toughest.
This is how legendaries should be.
Nearly every boss was an extreme challenge, and with AQ40 being the previous raid, it was like the 1-2 death punch to raiding guilds back then.
Fuck yes.
Very few cleared it before the release of the Burning Crusade expansion. Part of this was due to the expansion being announced so quickly.
Nobody cared.
After the raid release.
They knew all their shit was going to get replaced.
Everyone
just like
knew
BFA.
that any gear they got would quickly be replaced in their journey from 60 to 70, so there was very little motivation to trudge through this raid, let alone complete a legendary staff. So, only the most dedicated and skilled would clear through all of it, and even fewer would see Atiesh completed before the release of the Burning Crusade.
I never saw a single person that had Atiesh until in Vanilla WoW. Never. Not a single person. The reason why Atiesh was the perfect legendary is because you could do everything that you wanted, but until you actually completed the game and killed Kel'Thuzad, you would never see the legendary. You would never get it. And the legendary became a reward from raiding rather than a requirement. And that's what happens with legendaries nowadays. Is there a requirement? This was the ideal pinnacle achievement of the game, right here. And that's what made it so special. Then you say you helped someone get it?
As hard as it was to complete, it was also pretty straightforward. As mentioned before, the Scourge captured the fragments of Atiesh after its destruction in Dalaran. They ended up in the hands of actual bosses in the raid, and each one had a chance to drop a legendary item called the Splinter of Atiesh. Reading the tooltip, you saw that if you combined 40 of these, you could reform the frame of Atiesh. Only one person could loot these at once, so guilds had to somehow pick just one lucky raider to receive the legendary staff. This was done by the old DKP system, veteran status, rank status. No matter what, though, you can bet that there was a lot of drama to be found since it was such a highly sought-after weapon.
Yep.
The lucky classes that could end up using it were the Druid, the Priest, Warlock, and of course the Mage.
Ninja would have said,
so
well, you couldn't ninja
raided and raided and raided.
Yeah, you couldn't really ninja
and once you had all 40 shards, just as promised, you form a legendary item called the Frame of Atiesh, which is actually a quest starter. Clicking on it would give you a quest that sends you to Anachronos. You may remember him as the main quest giver for the Scepter of the Shifting Sands questline. You could find him outside of the then closed Caverns of Time, And before you could talk to him, you had to be neutral with the Brood of Nozdormu
That
faction.
shit was hard to do, too, by the way.
You typically had this
was annoying
if you were
as fuck.
actively raiding AQ40, though, so it wasn't too bad. The only tricky part was that the quest didn't actually mention Anachronos. It just said go find someone who can cleanse the frame. And with no quest markers, it was no easy feat.
You had no idea.
This was back in the day where a lot of the quests were just
you just
go
went
find
on a
this
fucking
guy.
adventure.
So it either took a lot of scouring, word of mouth, or thoughtbot. But either on your own or with the help of the internet, you eventually tracked him down.
Imagine being the first dude
He remarks
that sees
that
this.
the staff still holds great evil, but to cleanse it, we must first fully assemble it. He gives you a pretty simple follow-up quest.
Yeah, it's
Obtain
simple.
the
Just
base
go
of
kill
Atiesh
Kel'Thuzad.
from the final boss in the AQ40 raid, Cthulhu,
Duh.
and the head from the final boss of the Max Ramus raid, Kel'Thuzad. You know, the typical quest. So, like I said, really straightforward, but still really difficult. I won't go on with how tough this was, but I will note that even though it was one tier behind, AQ40 was still very difficult. In fact, when it was first released, Cthulhu was thought to be mathematically impossible to beat, even with the best gear and perfect execution, and in fact was only killed after a big nerf.
Yep.
The only upside was that it was at least a 100% drop as long as you had the quest, and it would also drop for multiple quest bearers.
I forgot all about that.
So,
I thought they were just white items,
that
actually.
Only the best could complete, and if they were successful, there's just one more step. To cleanse the staff.
The final task will be the most difficult of all, Badgar. You have faced and defeated both an old god and a Lich King's general, but now you must face the hand of Sargeras. Take this staff to Strathlum. It is there that you will find a piece of consecrated earth, ground where the greatest knights of Wardron were murdered. Place the befouled staff upon the holy ground and prepare for an entity of immense power to break from within. Defeat the demonic being that controls the staff and return it to me. That is fucking badass, dude. That is fucking badass.
It's still the epitome of all evil, and it will destroy its wielder, so the next step was to head to the Stratholme dungeon with 4 party members to purify it.
4 champions. Like, these are people like in full Nax Ramus gear that were going in to fight against this boss. There he is. There he fucking is.
Near the undead side, next to a fountain, you could find a patch of consecrated earth.
Yep.
The quest holder would have to stand atop this spot and perform a short ritual, and at the end, a demon named Atiesh would spawn. This was the evil that's been inhabiting this staff for all of these years at the behest of Sargeras himself. You'd have to take it down to finally cleanse the staff once and for all. It was a pretty tough fight with just 5 people. The demon itself dual-wielded a legendary. He had dual swords called Adonisis, the Reaper of Souls.
Yep.
If a player disarmed the demon during the fight, he would actually drop it on the ground, and you'd be able to wield it against him.
It had an item level of
100 and some crazy attack power, but it was a conjured item and was only usable inside of Stratholme.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it disappeared once you exited the dungeon.
Very unfortunate.
If you were successful, you returned to Anachronos, and he gave you the cleansed Atiesh as a reward. Each class got a slightly different version, but in general, it had tons of spell power, stamina, intellect, spirit, hit or crit chance, and an aura that buffed your party members, which was pretty unique at the time.
People actually kept using that staff even into Burning Crusade, because the aura, basically like high-end guilds would use the aura and just multiply it by 4 and just say that staff gave that person effectively that much spell power, and it was actually better than a lot of items if you were using it purely for a group benefit. I remember like the same guy did that too.
And you could also open a portal to Karazhan in the Deadwind Pass that you and your party members could use. Although there really wasn't a reason to be here until the Burning Crusade expansion when the raid actually released.
Yeah, you can make a portal to Karazhan.
A little fun fact though is that if you entered the Burning Crusade Karazhan and you walked up to the Shade of Varan boss with Atiesh equipped, you got some extra dialogue. They revisited this in the Legion remake as well, with the shade of Medivh fight.
That's so badass.
The only thing it's missing
I really think that's
is
cool.
the Raven form.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't want to steal the Druid's thunder. As I mentioned, this was obtainable all the way until patch 3.0.1 in Wrath, when the raid was remade, and anyone who obtained it before then also got themselves a feat of strength to show off. And similar to the other weapons in this series, it also has a card dedicated to it in the official trading card game. Appropriately, only the Druid, Priest, Warlock, and Mage classes could use it. As I mentioned, it also appeared in the Warcraft movie. They ended up having an auction for all of the props, and this one sold for nearly $5,000.
Yo, we should have bought that, man.
Let's hope it was cleansed first.
We should have done it. We should have done a
and
donation
today,
goal for
lore-wise,
that.
it's in the hands of the Archmage Khadgar.
Like,
so it gets a little awkward if a player wielder interacts with them.
Yeah, it's true.
Very few survive today, as you would imagine, so if you see one out in the wild, make sure you press F to pay respects. Well, that's about it. Kind of a shorter video for the standard of the series, but as I said, it's pretty straightforward. Still though, I hope you found the video interesting or entertaining. Like it if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Holy shit, man.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video. See you again soon.
This is the video that I just watched. That was actually a really great video. I love that video. I wish that they had like more shit like this in the game that was like actually like capstone achievements. I think that like Blizzard, I think they can go back to it, but they're gonna need like, I'm gonna be completely real with you guys. Like current WoW, it won't be good for like 4 more years, if ever. And at this point in time, they need to do something that's just a full reset. Like somehow they need to do a full reset of like everything in the game. Like mounts, titles, achievements, pets, gear, everything. Like literally a full reset. And if I am supporting this, I can guarantee you there might be 1 or 2 other people that are watching the stream that have more items than I do in WoW, but there's probably a good chance that no one that's watching the stream does. And if I'm okay with this, you should be too. It's the right thing to do to move the game forward. Yeah, they should do WoW 2 or something like that. That is, in my opinion, the only way they can carry the game forward. And have it reclaim its success that it used to have.